everybody. Pupils, how are you today? Hope everyone is in good health. I'm Di Chai Mei from SM Teknik Tuanku Jaafar, Seremban. Today, we will learn about data handling in Mathematics Form 1. Before we begin our class today, please be ready with your notebook and stationery. Are you ready? Let's get started.
There are a lot of objects here. Let us count the number of balls. Phew, this needs a lot of concentration. Let's mark them as we count the balls. Okay, so let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 balls here. Okay, now let's go on to the next question. Let's count the different vehicles. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 different vehicles here. Third question. How many color pencils are there? Oh, this one's really easy, isn't it? They're all together. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 color pencils in this image. Now for the fourth question. How many times is a butterfly next to a flower? This is a tricky one. Let's see. Let's do this together. Here, there's a butterfly, but it's not next to a flower. So let's ignore that one. Let's go on. Oh, here we have one. And there's a second one. Now there's a flower, but without the butterfly. So we'll ignore this one too. And we have a third one here. So there is a butterfly next to a flower. So that's 3. 3 times in this picture. Now for the fifth question. How many balloons are there near the teddy bear? The teddy bear is right here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 colorful balloons next to it. So the answer is 4.
At the end of today's lesson, you should be able to 1. Represent the data given by using a dot plot and a bar chart. 2. To justify the appropriateness of the data represented using a dot plot and a bar chart. Boys and girls, COVID-19 is an ongoing global pandemic disease. Since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, charts and graphs have been used to assist the communication of information about the infection rates, death tolls, and vaccination processes. There have never been so many charts and graphs occupying the news worldwide. Simple data visualization have become the key to communicating vital information about the coronavirus pandemic to the public. Today, we are going to learn about 2 data visualizations, the dot plot and the bar chart. A dot plot graph shows the distribution of data on a number line, while a bar chart is a type of data representation which represents data by using bars. Globally, fewer cases of COVID-19 have been reported among children compared to adults. In Malaysia, until the middle of May 2020, there were 317 COVID-19 paediatric cases that were reported. Here, the data shows the age in years of COVID-19 pediatric patients in Sabah until the middle of May 2020. There are a total of 26 cases reported in Sabah. We can construct a dot plot from this simple data set.
Henry Lawrence Gant was an American mechanical engineer and management consultant who is best known for his work in the development of scientific management. He created the Gantt chart in the 1910s. Gantt charts were employed on major infrastructure projects, including the Hoover Dam and Interstate Highway System of America. The Gantt chart continues to be an important tool in project management and program management. The history of big data as a term may be brief, but many of the foundations it is built on were laid long ago. Long before computers, as we know them today, were commonplace. Our increasing ability to store and analyze information has been a gradual evolution. However, things began to speed up at the end of the last century with the invention of digital storage and the internet.
A dot plot is used to represent any data in the form of dots. It is similar to a simplified histogram or a bar graph, as the height of the bar form with dots represents the numerical value of each variable. Dot plots are used to represent small amounts of data.
The first thing we need to do is to draw a horizontal axis, which is basically a straight line going from the left to the right, with arrow pointing out at both ends. Next, we need to identify the lowest and highest value in the dataset. Can you help me to identify the highest value in this dataset? Good! The highest value is 12. How about the lowest value? Yes, the lowest value is 1. So, our scale needs to go from 1 at the left end mark of the axis to 12 at the right end mark of the axis. Make sure the marks are equally distanced. Label the axis as age in years. We are now ready to start plotting the data values. Let's do it. There is one case involving a child of age 1. We will make one dot above the age 1 mark on the axis. There are 4 cases involving children age 2. For multiple values, we will stack the dots vertically. So, make 4 dots vertically above the age 2 mark on the axis. We will continue to plot the other values to complete the dot plot. 3 dots for age 3, 3 dots for age 4, 1 dot for age 5, age 6 and age 7, 2 dots for age 9, 1 dot for age 10, 2 dots for age 11, and finally 7 dots for age 12. There, boys and girls, we have finished plotting the dots. Now, let's give the dot plot a title. Our title for this dot plot is Number of COVID-19 Pediatric Cases in Sabah. Now, our dot plot is complete. So far, we have learned how to represent small-scale data. This example shows a large-scale data. The frequency table shows the number of COVID-19 pediatric cases in Selangor, Pahang, Negeri Sembilan, Melaka, and Johor until the middle of May 2020. Do you think it is suitable to construct a dot plot to represent this dataset? A bit tedious, isn't it? Just imagine that you have to make 77 dots to represent the cases reported in Selangor. Phew, that's a lot of work. So, For this, we will construct a bar chart to represent the dataset.
Who was the founder of the graphical methods of statistics? William Playfair was a Scottish engineer and political economist. Playfair is considered the founder of the graphical methods of statistics. Playfair argued that charts communicated better than tables of data. Why did William Playfair invent the line graph? According to Benninger and Robin, 1978, Playfair was driven to this invention by a lack of data. In his atlas, he had collected a series of 34 plates about the import and export from different countries over the years, which he presented as line graphs or surface charts. Line graphs shaded or tinted between abscissa and function.
The pictorial representation of group data in the form of vertical rectangular bars. The bars drawn are of uniform weight and the variable quantity is represented on one of the axes. Also, the measure of the variable is depicted on the other axis. The heights or the length of the bars denote the value of the variable, and these graphs are also used to compare certain quantities. The three major attributes of bar graphs are: the bar graph helps to compare the different sets of data among different groups easily. It shows the relationship using two axes. The graph shows the major changes in data over time.
For this dataset, it is more suitable to use a graph paper. Small grids on the graph paper are useful for detailed drawing. Boys and girls, what is the first step in constructing a bar chart? Yes, draw the x-axis and y-axis. What is step 2? Terrific! Choose one of the axes to mark a suitable scale and label the axis. What about the x-axis? What label should we put as x-axis? Excellent! We should label the states at the x-axis. Then, we should label the number of cases at the y-axis. Mark the major grid lines for scale labeling. It is suitable to mark the scale in the interval of tens as we have a large amount of data. Make sure the marks have equal distance. Take a look at the scale we labeled. Can you state how many cases one major grid represents? Very good! One major grid represents 10 cases. This also means that the minor division represents 1 case each. Boys and girls, do you remember what step 3 is? Yes, you are correct. Step 3 is to draw the bar such that the height of each bar corresponds to the frequency of the category it represents. Selangor recorded 77 cases. So, draw a bar of 77 minor divisions long. Now, we have completed one bar to represent 77 COVID-19 cases in Selangor. Leave a space of one major grid. Pahang recorded 14 cases. So, draw a bar of 14 minor division long. Before drawing the next bar, leave a space of one major grid. Remember, the bars need to be evenly spaced. We are going to continue drawing the bars. 48 cases in Negeri Sembilan, 9 cases in Malacca, and finally, 46 cases in Johor. Now, we have finished drawing the bars. What should we do next? Yes, the last step is to give the bar graph a title. Would you agree with me if I were to put the title for this bar graph as number of COVID-19 pediatric cases in 5 states? Great! I'm glad you agree with me. Now, our bar chart is complete.
Who was the first person to discover math? The oldest written texts on mathematics were discovered on Egyptian papyruses. Since these are some of the oldest societies on Earth, it makes sense that they would have been the first to discover the basics of mathematics. More advanced mathematics can be traced to ancient Greece over 2,500 years ago.
Boys and girls, we have now constructed 2 types of data representation, the dot plot and the bar charts. What is the difference between the data set that we constructed using a dot plot and the data set that we constructed using a bar chart? Excellent! Dot plot is suitable to represent small-scale data distribution. It is not suitable to use dot plot to represent a large-scale data set as it is time-consuming, and when used for a large data set, the dot plot will become overcrowded, making it difficult to read. For displaying a large amount of data, it is more suitable to use a bar chart. Bar charts are also suitable to represent categorical data such as number of cases by state. Now that you have learned about the 2 data representations, let's see if you can choose the most appropriate data representation to represent a given data set. Compare these 2 data sets. Dataset 1 shows the research results of the incubation period in days of a virus. Dataset 2 shows the economic loss in $1 million in 11 countries due to a pandemic outbreak. Boys and girls, between a dot plot and a bar chart, can you suggest the best way to represent the raw data of data set 1? A dot plot? Yes, that's a good choice. What is your justification for suggesting a dot plot to represent data set 1? Very good. You are such wonderful pupils. The dot plot is suitable for displaying the incubation period of a virus, which ranges from 5 days to 7 days. And what is the best way to represent the quantitative discrete data in data set 2? A bar graph? Good! And what is your justification for suggesting a bar graph to represent the data set 2? Yes, the bar chart is suitable for comparing the economic loss in 5 countries. Well done, everyone. Now, we will proceed to draw the dot plot for data set 1 and the bar chart for data set 2. Do you still remember what the first step in constructing the dot plot is? Yes, always draw the axis first. A straight line going from left to right with arrows pointing out at both ends. Our scale needs to go from 5 at the left and mark on the axis to the 10th at the right end mark of the axis. Make sure the marks have equal distance. We are now ready to start plotting the data values. 3 dots for day 5, 7 dots for day 6, 5 dots for day 7, 3 dots for day 8, 2 dots for day 9, and finally 1 dot for day 10. We have finished plotting the dots. Now, can you suggest a title for the dot plot? Great! The title for this dot plot is Incubation Period of a Virus. Boys and girls, now let's draw the bar chart to represent the quantitative discrete data in data set 2. Are you ready to draw the bar chart? Let's do it. For this data set, we are going to draw the bar chart on a grid paper since the data is in multiples of 10. But of course, you can use the graph paper too. Boys and girls, what is the first step in constructing a bar chart? Yes, draw the x-axis and y-axis. Step 2. Choose one of the axes to mark a suitable scale and label the axis. Make sure the marks have equal distance. Take a look at the scale we labeled. Can you state how many dollars one square grid represents? Very good. One square grid represents $1 million. Step 3. Draw the bars. Make sure that the height of each bar corresponds to the frequency of the category it represents on the axis. So, draw a bar of 3 squares in height to represent $3 million of economic loss of country A. Next, leave a space of 1 square. Let's draw the rest of the bars. $90 million for country B, $70 million for country C, $40 million for country D, $60 million for country E, and of course, you can draw a different bar width. Just make sure those bars have equal space between them. We have finished drawing the bars. Now, step 4. Give the bar chart a title. Our title for this bar chart is Economic Loss in 5 Countries. Boys and girls, now our bar chart is complete. Well done! You are now able to represent the data by using a dot plot and a bar chart. Apart from that, you are also able to justify the appropriateness of the data represented using a dot plot and a bar chart. Do practice to answer other questions in the textbook. Thank you for watching, boys and girls. I hope you find this lesson helpful. Have a great day. Goodbye, everyone.